Welcome to the Div and our series on professional expectations. I'm Lieutenant Navy Alex Wood from 4th Canadian Division Public Affairs in Toronto, Ontario. As members of the profession of arms, we are held to high standards and are expected to uphold the values of the Canadian Armed Forces. Our 8 professional expectations are provided through the Canadian Armed Forces ethos, trusted to serve. Our topic today is teamwork, and our guests are Cpl Edison-Edebor and 2nd Lieutenant Alice Lee. Cpl Edison-Edebor joined the Canadian Armed Forces in 2018. He holds a diploma in social work, a Bachelor of Science in sociology and anthropology, as well as an advanced diploma in child and youth work. In 2019, Cpl Edison-Edebor was posted to the 2 Military Police Regiment Toronto Detachment. He is currently a military police investigator and senior patroller whose primary responsibility is to complete general criminal and service offense investigations. 2nd Lieutenant Alice Lee joined the Canadian Armed Forces in 2021 as a logistics officer. She is a certified public accountant with a Bachelor of Commerce from the University of Toronto and a graduate diploma in professional accounting from the Rotman School of Management. At her home unit, 32 Service Battalion, she works as a platoon commander for supply and food services, as well as the unit public affairs representative. She also plays the flute for the 7th Toronto Regiment Royal Canadian Artillery Concert Band. So welcome to both of you.
Thank you so much.
So I always start off with sort of an introduction and getting to know folks a little bit better. I always find it's really interesting when we have conversations and find out a little bit about members and how they sort of came to the military and whatnot. So Alice, I'll start with you. I know that you've had a really interesting background doing some beauty pageants in the past and also in the civilian world as a CPA. What compelled you to join the military?
When I was very involved in the beauty pageant industry, competing and also working as an accountant, something that never changed was the dedication and the time that I always wanted to spend in the community, volunteering, working with different nonprofits and charitable organizations. And as I wanted to just do a bit more and give back more, I kept thinking to myself, what's that next step? What more can I do? And I realized that next step could be a career change with the Canadian Armed Forces. So that's why I applied.
And Amin, for yourself, mentioned your educational background, but you had shared with me before we started here that you as well have a real strong background, a lot of experience in community and social services, and now have joined the forces as a military police officer. Why an MP?
In the last couple of years, there's been so much emphasis on mental health, supports, and you would ask yourself, what can I do to serve the country and provide my skill set to where it is most important? Having worked within the community, working with seniors, having worked within the community, working with the youths, you're saying, what's the next challenge you want to see? And the opportunity came for me to be part of the Canadian Armed Forces, knowing fully well that after all that happened in Afghanistan, all the PTSD, all the mental health challenges, it will be proper and will be good to see how well I could fit in and bring in my interpersonal skills, my social work skills, my ability to connect where there seems to be a challenge. And the best place for me was to go into the Canadian Armed Forces and provide that support. And I am so happy that I chose the right trade, which is being in the military police, because over time or with experience, there are calls that you get that could just require you one simple word, some nice soothing word that shows empathy, and that's where policing comes in. And with modern day policing, where there's emphasis on mental health, I would start from the Canadian Armed Forces Military Police section and unit to see how best I could support my my team.
So that brings us to the topic is teamwork, right? Today, that's one of our professional expectations, and I think that probably most people think of that in some context when it comes to the military, because even if you're not a military person, you have some sense that it's a large group of people and we do coordinated types of missions and all of that sort of thing. But I think there's another context that is really important for us to look at, and that is within our professional development, right? So, when we think of teamwork, Alice, what would you describe, or how would you describe being part of a team within the Canadian Armed Forces, or maybe more particularly your job as a logistics officer at 32 Service?
With 32 Service Battalion, we're combat service support. So teamwork and that coordination is even more important than ever. We're there to provide whatever it is that others need. And in my unit, in the companies within my unit, we work very closely in order to orchestrate that support. Without the coordination of teamwork, we would not be able to provide the right thing in the right place at the right time. That's what logistical support is all about. As an example, you've joined us for our tactical sustainer exercise. It was a training exercise weekend at Canadian Forces Base Borden, and there was so much teamwork and coordination that had to go into that exercise to make it happen. Even from just planning the exercise itself, every single person in the company and in the unit plays a very vital role. Everyone is a part of this bigger puzzle, but you will not have the entire puzzle if you have a puzzle piece missing. So we're working with all members of the unit in trying to prepare and plan for such training exercises. And that really shows how, even on a day-to-day basis, teamwork is always playing a crucial role in our job. And that's always been something that we really need to rely on in order to get what we need to do done.
And now, in terms of military policing, we think again in the military context of working, as Alice has described, within her unit, within the support trades and other groups that they provide services to. But there's some other aspects a lot of times when we think of, like, say, for example, domestic operations, and we're working with government partners from, say, the province or federal government or others, municipal even, military policing. You had mentioned to me earlier that your area of operations is quite extensive, from Oshawa to Windsor, right? Talk to me about how you create the conditions for teamwork within your area, and specifically as it relates to military policing.
The acronym TEAM, which says together everyone achieves more. You tend to look at what's the objective here. The common objective is making sure that our establishments, ranging from Oshawa through to Windsor, where there is a Department of National Defense building, structure, armory, whatever name you want to call it, units, there has to be security. There has to be protection of our troops. And with teamwork comes the instance where we know we cannot be everywhere because our detachment is located in Toronto. But what does teamwork tell us? As a unit or as a detachment, we need to liaise with Sarnia Police, for example, where if there are incidents at the armory in Sarnia, we would say, could you attend the scene for us? Because we are all a team, and the objective is to make sure that the scene is secure, our troops are secure. If you say Oshawa, if you say Windsor, if you say, there is a lot of collaboration that comes to play, and in collaborating, we all have to be in a good space. We all have to maintain that good cordial relationship with these agencies. So the agencies such as the OPP, which plies the major highways, we connect with them to say, could you provide support? Could you keep a watch over our troops who are going on 1 or 2 exercises? Maybe it's a range day, or they are moving arms or doing something. You connect with them. So with teamwork comes collaboration, comes togetherness, comes what I just said. We want to achieve more and making sure that the best is what the CAF gets.
So really, it's broader than just the military units, the military members.
Correct.
This is interfacing with, as you mentioned, those civilian partners and other agencies, and how many there must be between Oshawa and
so
Windsor,
many,
right?
So many of them. So many of them. You have the CBSA, for example, which you might think that, oh, we might have we have no connections with them, we have really no business, but you would have members who have to come into the country, or who might have 1 or 2 things to deal with, and you say to yourself, who is the best? Because right now, if we say a comparative advantage, because we know that we are in Toronto, we can't be at every airport or at every port of entry. So how best do we achieve what we want to achieve? We say, hey, the guys in CBSA, let's get something done. Let's help us out here. Look out for XYZ person. Let him get in here safe. We say to the guys in, for example, Barrie Police, or for example, Hamilton Police. There is some Hamilton Police detachment, for example, close by John Foote Armory. And there are things that happen around there that could be challenging to us getting there on time. What do we simply say? Hey guys, help us out here and provide the required need as it is. And that helps us, and that makes the job easier for us. If there is no teamwork in that place, you could imagine you going on a long drive to Sanya, that there's a call and you need to go to Sanya. You will say to yourself, the call would have finished. Whatever it is that you need to go figure out there would have ended while you are still on the way getting to that place. So it's, without teamwork, we will not be able to achieve the things that we set out to achieve as a policing unit within the CAF.
I want to talk to you both a little bit about diversity in the context of teamwork. And what are your thoughts, Alice, about how diversity creates a stronger and more cohesive team within the CAF?
That's a great question. I think when it comes to diversity, everyone has different strengths and weaknesses. And something that we can give people the opportunity to do is to come and bring forward whatever they can contribute, whatever greatest asset they can contribute in the roles and the trades that they have within the CAF. So in terms of teamwork, when everyone is able to be in a role where they are contributing their greatest asset, that makes our team even more stronger. So for example, with combat service support, if you are someone on a tasking and combat service support is trying to support you, we really need everyone to be able to do their wide diversity of functions in combat service support in order to provide everything that is needed. For example, if you're in the middle of an exercise or a tasking, you don't want to run out of water. That was someone's job. You don't want to show up somewhere and maybe there's no washroom facilities. Maybe someone forgot the fuel. You can't have that happening. So everyone has such a specific role, and everyone has the opportunity to choose and strive for the role that best fits their strengths and weaknesses. And I think we can really take advantage of the diversity we have in the different skills and talents that everyone has on a team, and that's how we can get the strongest team possible.
And I always find it really fascinating when I meet different people in the military, because just like when I introduced the two of you, your educational backgrounds, for example, very different, you know, in terms of your educational degrees and those sorts of things, and yet here we are, you know, bringing those skill sets to bear. So, you know, talk to me a little bit about that in terms of Amin, you know, as you said before, in terms of your experience, you know, working with youth, working with seniors and community, and that educational background of again, community and social service, now bringing these sort of diverse elements of experience and education. How does that contribute to making, say, for example, in your case, a better military policing group?
Yeah, thank you. When it comes to bringing a diverse array of experience, you look at, what do I have that makes me better? Or not better, what do I have that makes me special? My listening skills, my empathy skills. And as a police personnel, I bring that in to a space to say, there's an incident. The person who in question has maybe something wrong, just needs somebody to listen to them. And by listening, everything is, the de-escalation that could have been maybe the other way around is easily resolved by somebody saying the right thing. Bring that into a team as within a unit itself. I might not be the best when it comes down to documentations of things. You have a partner who's good at it. Teamwork requires that, hey, I'm not good here. Could you help me out? Bring in your skill set. Help me do this. I might be good at interviews, which means I'm able to connect. I'm able to get a full story from different interview sessions or interrogations as the job requires. But you also have somebody who's got great observational skills. And that person's job is just to observe from a point, say, hey, you're missing this. Why not you look at this side? You try not to be too tunnel vision in the things that you do. So with teamwork, with collaboration, with feedback, you get a flow, a good flow, a smooth flow of how your day-to-day runs. Within the CAF, it's easy to apply all this because, like what Alex said, she says what? Alice says, she said, logistics. There are times when, as a unit, we require additional, let's say, logistic support going to the ranges, and all our vehicles are not available to run it. We go to logistics to say, hey guys, could you do this for us? As a team, they help us out because at the end of the day, we all want to be prepared for everything that we do as a force. So they assist us, we go ahead, we do what we have to do, everything is done right. So my experience, my skill set mixed with Alice's experience and skill set, or any other person within my unit, makes every process, every mission successful at the end of the day.
As I'm sitting listening to both of you, talking about this idea of teamwork and this, as we say, professional expectation, it also strikes me that, as much as we have this diversity of experiences, of culture, of religions, of all the various things that we on the surface perceive as differences, there's a real strength in all of that. And what I find really interesting, and I hear this a lot within the CAF, is that underlying that, our foundation, is things like service, right? Building a better community, being of service and support to others, and creating a better organization. And so I think sometimes, and I just would like to hear your thoughts on this, I think that what we find when we actually have the opportunity to sit down and talk with each other and get to know each other a bit is that for all of our perceived external differences between us, there's really a lot of cohesion and a lot of similarity in terms of purpose. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I definitely agree with that. Just like what Amin touched on earlier, at the end of the day, even though, for example, our units are different, our jobs and trades may be different, there is still a fundamental similarity in that we're still on the same team and we share common goals and we're trying to get the same things done. We're still all aiming towards the same thing. And that's also where our teamwork really aligns. Despite being from different units who are working different trades. And I'm going to give a great example of, for example, if someone else is in need of transport services, which is logistical support, then they can come to a service battalion and inquire about that, because at the end of the day, we are all on the same team. We want to get the same job done, and we have the same mission here under the Canadian Armed Forces.
Amin?
Yeah. I'll take a cue from what Alice just said. Within teamwork, you get it if you go on those professional development sessions. They say to you that you are as strong as your weakest link, and your weakest link could be anything. Not weakest in the sense that to a point where it impedes on the general objective of the CAF. But you could have certain things that don't work well in a unit. That could be a weak link itself. And you cannot pride yourself, let's say, as a unit, as 32 Service Battalion, as the military police, as public affairs. You cannot pride yourself that, oh, we are so good, and there is some other subdivision that is not as good as you, leaving them out. Just as they are not as good, so applies to you as a unit or a service battalion, saying, well, if they are not good, which means you're not good. And in togetherness, we all have to work as a team because we need to support them. It's like you go on a rock march. Your rock march is not complete when you have somebody about a kilometer behind. You still have to go back. Nobody's left behind in everything that you do. So if we go applying teamwork, if we go applying togetherness, if we go applying combat readiness, we would only be combat ready when we leave nobody behind and we all go to the end point or the destination we want to go to.
We just have a minute or so left, so just briefly, just would like to know from each of you what's next. I know, Alice, you just completed your logistics land course, right? So getting ready to take the next step in your career. What do you look forward to?
I look forward to getting back to the unit. I was away in training in Quebec for a while, so it's really exciting to just get involved again, help out wherever I can, and just keep contributing back and serving my country.
And
Amin, what about yourself? What's next in your career?
Next for me will be my what we call my PLQ, and that's going to empower me to be in a leadership or in a teaching role, which I hope to achieve soon. And by achieving that, I'm able to apply what I've gained, the experience I've been able to achieve so far in policing and investigations, in patrolling. I'm able to apply that, and if the opportunity presents itself that I teach newly badged military police personnel, I'm able to do that. And also, as long as I am in the CAF, I'll be able to see how the growth applies and I get along with that.
Well, I really want to thank both of you and your respective units for giving you the time today to come and join us and have this conversation, and best of luck to both of you in your future careers.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, this is our edition of Professional Expectations on Teamwork. I thank both of our guests for joining me today, and don't forget to follow 4th Canadian Division on social media. We'll see you next time.